What's up, BookTube? It's the end of June and I'm here with a wrap-up. So this month I read 8 books, which is an excellent reading month for me. The majority of them were audiobooks, but I will kind of go through that as I name each book off. So the first book I read was Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Caraval is an interesting story about 2 sisters who end up going on this adventure where they go to participate in Caraval, which is this game that they end up being a part of. The game itself likes to play tricks on you, so sometimes you don't really know what's happening. It's a game, but it's a show and the audience participates. And to be completely honest, this story did not pull me in as much as I was hoping it would. That being said, there were definitely lots of twists and turns, and the story does keep you constantly guessing in regards to what's really happening or what's being imagined by the players. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars, and I did listen to the audiobook version. The actors did a great job, and I'm honestly not sure what it was that just didn't pull me in. Maybe it was the fact that for the most part, Scarlett was obsessed with her sister and being able to save her and find her and worrying about her, and Tella just didn't strike me as a very good person. She seemed kind of selfish. Actually, I totally remember what messed me up in this book. So as I was listening to the audiobook, one of the main characters' name is Scarlett. Inside of this audiobook, there was also a character named Eiko. Scarlett and Eiko, does that sound familiar? I found myself being really confused while I was listening, trying to place myself in the world, like, what is happening? What is Scarlett doing? And what I later discovered was the girl that narrated Caraval also narrated the Lunar Chronicles. So having the same voice tell the story with same character names, it was confusing. Especially because my husband and I were also listening to Cress at the same time. I had recently visited BookCon and there were 2 children's books there that I had wanted to pick up. And one was She Persisted by Chelsea Clinton, and the other one was I Dissent by Debbie Levy, or Levi. I apologize. I didn't get a chance to pick them up at BookCon, and since I don't have little children living in my house right now, I only have one 16-year-old, I decided against purchasing them. But since they were really short, I decided to check them out while at Barnes & Noble. She Persisted by Chelsea Clinton had some great illustrations, but I was a little disappointed in how short the book was. There was literally only like a paragraph on each page about one of the 13 different women that persisted. On the opposite end of the spread, there was a quote for each one. I just really feel like they could have done a little bit more with this. I know it's for kids and I get that, but I just feel like this one had so much potential and I would have liked to see a little bit more. Despite this, I still gave it 4 stars because I feel like this is an excellent book for little girls because they need to know that sometimes they are going to be told no and they have to do it anyway. The other book was I Dissent. Ruth Bader Ginsburg makes her mark. And I absolutely love this book. Despite the fact that it was a kid's book, there were beautiful illustrations, colorful illustrations on every single page. And they did such a good job of covering her life and her history and her struggles. And I feel like I learned so much reading this kid's book. I think somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew who Ruth Ginsburg was, but when I sat down and I read all that, I just felt like I really honestly learned so much. I didn't realize she lived in Brooklyn. I didn't realize things were so hard for Jewish people around the time that she was growing up. You know, it just wasn't part of my struggle, so those things weren't at the forefront of my mind. But I really enjoyed reading about her life and her story, and for children, this is an incredible book. So I did give I Dissent by Debbie Levy 5 out of 5 stars. I'm not sure what prompted this recommendation from one of my husband's friends, but he did suggest that my husband read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Counterintuitive Approach to Living a Good Life by Mark Manson. Over time, my husband and I have discovered that he actually retains a lot more information when he listens to audiobooks, so I went and I picked up the audiobook and I was intrigued, so we ended up listening to it together. I'm the type of person that struggles with anxiety. I'm a bit of a control freak. But outside of that, I care. I care sincerely about people, about things, about my environment. And so I walked into this really thinking that I was gonna hate this book. Because why would anybody tell me not to care? I think people need to care more in this world. But this book took a lot of ideas from the Book of Buddha and the concept of expectations leading to suffering. I read the Book of Buddha myself a really long time ago, and that was one of the religions that I felt like I really identified with. I'm not a very religious person overall, but I would say that I'm spiritual, and that concept, just that expectations lead to suffering, makes a lot of sense to me. Mark Manson did an excellent job of conveying that concept and setting up lots of different examples using his own life and others to demonstrate what he meant. And he did it in a humorous way. I think that was the best part. There were some areas where I was like, holy shit, did he just say that? But it was really funny and it was very powerful. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Last year, I attended Indie Book Fest, and one of the books that I was given by an author, C.G. Powell, was Miss Steak. It was a tiny book about this big, and it was a short story that served as an introduction to her Veronica Benoit series. For the first half of the short story, I was really intrigued, but then the second half of the short story felt a lot like just a very heavy info dump, and the pacing seemed a bit off to me. The Veronica Benoit series is a paranormal one, and so I am still interested, but I'm hoping that the pacing levels out a little bit throughout the series. I gave the short story 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Geekerella by Ashley Poston, and I fell in love with this. I actually don't want to give you guys too much detail because I did do a full review of that one, and I will leave a link to it in the description below. But think of a Cinderella retelling in the world of geeky fandoms with cosplay and just lots of awesome geeky stuff. It made me so happy while reading it, and I did give it 5 out of 5 stars. Another book I was reading with my husband is Cress, which is the 3rd book in the Lunar Chronicles series. Lunar Chronicles is fairy tale retellings, and each book kind of follows a different fairy tale character, and for this 3rd installment, the character Cress is essentially Rapunzel. Because it is the 3rd book in the series, I won't go into too much detail, but hopefully you guys have checked out the Lunar Chronicles. I have been enjoying the series, and I look forward to reading Winter, the next installment. And the last book that I listened to this month was Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. There seems to be a significant difference in reviews depending on whether somebody read the book or listened to it. The book's format is interesting because the story is told through a series of interviews. However, the audiobook had a full cast and the actors were phenomenal. I plan on doing a full review for that soon, and whenever that's available, I will link it down below. But just so you guys know, I also gave that 5 out of 5 stars. What did you read this month? Leave me a comment and let me know. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Okay, seriously guys, I'm trying really hard to upload on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's not working out very well. I seem to be missing that Thursday deadline. I'm gonna keep trying though. I'm gonna keep trying. This next week I have a lot of availability, so I'm gonna see if I could record quite a few videos so that I can start stacking them and using that scheduling feature, and hopefully I can get on this Tuesday-Thursday schedule.